Hi, welcome to another edition of Fun with Rocks. Today we're going to look at various shiny minerals which sometimes we can't always tell the difference from. So we'll go through each one and I will tell you what they are. Remember, I'm not a professional. I'm just a girl who really loves her rocks and would love to share some of my specimens and my knowledge to help the rest of my rock collecting friends to further their collection and understand what they have in their collection. So today we are going to look at, first, pyrite. Now, pyrite's pretty fascinating because of the many forms that it comes in. The cubes are natural. Absolutely amazing. It also forms in these beautiful little balls. This is a pyrite sun. Sometimes these are pretty hard to find. You can't really see due to the light, but if we do compare it side by side to hematite, you can see there's a marked difference of coloring. These also are natural squares. A lot of times what we see our pyrite as is more like that. We can also sometimes get it in pendants, even though not as easily found, I've learned. Smooth rocks like this, I see very rarely now. We see pyrite, a lot of it, as parts of others. This, of course, is on quartz. And this is on, can't remember its name all of a sudden. Dolomite. And I'll bring dolomite up later again in other videos. We can also then go into chalcopyrite. Now, a lot of us know what this is. It's a lot lighter in feel. The gold is obvious. Again, very different from its hematite friend in coloring. You can find these in necklaces, which is fun to wear. I also want to point out one that's kind of rare. Some people will find these to add to their collections. This is called stibnite. And a lot of times it will be confused with other minerals. It's very light. Very, very light. And then a lot of us know about peacock rock or Bornite. These little pieces are quite magnificent in color. Bornite comes in a lot of ranges of color. And again, note, similar but different. Very common. Pricing all depends on where you find your specimens. These are older specimens, so you'll find the color is brighter for some reason. I find with my older specimens, they seem to be a higher quality. I wanted to bring up covellite, because covellite has a very marked, beautiful appearance, but it is a rare, more collector sought after piece. And then the red is siderite. I don't know if you can really, there you go. See that a bit better in there. So the collectors will find those, but it's up to you whether you want to seek out. This piece, again, is very old. So this piece is about 30 years old. And a lot of times I didn't realize how hard they were to find. And now I'm learning more and more about how difficult certain rocks are to find. Let's move into hematite. Now, this is actually hematite. I wasn't sure earlier. I'd put out a call to find out what it was, and then in my records I finally found that it was hematite, and we can see the iron on there. So the one thing we have to remember about hematite is it is not magnetic. It does grow in botryoidal format, which is the bubbles. See all the little bubbly guys? That's kind of cool, hey? It is very light. I don't know if this is natural or treated, to be honest with you. I bought it as natural, but you know, in my research, it's really, I couldn't find proof that it was or wasn't heat treated. We'll find a lot of hematite goes into other minerals. Tiger iron usually has hematite in it. So what is the difference between hematite and magnetite? Well, the obvious is it's magnetic. If you see this little guy right here, oh, he doesn't even want to get off. These are earth magnets that I have attached. So each of these magnets, there's no string running through these. So they're really quite powerful magnets. And if we look, it sticks to it, no problem. So with magnetite, it's always going to have the ability to be magnetic. Cool, huh? Now, what's really seriously interesting, this is also magnetite, known as lodestone. Lodestone was used as the original compasses. And if you can see, these little fibers here are attached to the lodestone. Cool, huh? I think so too. I think it's seriously fascinating. So again, we have pyrite, bornite, hematite, and magnetite. A lot of times these are confused, but there's no need to confuse them. You can see the difference in the color, right? I'll just bring these out here. Remember, the difference between hematite and magnetite is the fact that a magnet will stick. I also want to put in what's called, of course, meteorite. The one big thing about meteorite is they are magnetic. There are a few meteorites that aren't, but if you notice, offhand, we wouldn't know that's a meteorite. In this pendant too, this right here is also another meteorite. See how different they look? So when you get into meteorite collecting, when you're buying, try and get the history on where it was found. Unfortunately, there's a lot flooding the markets that aren't real. So you want to make sure that you're buying from someone you trust. And the other quick way to check is to see if it's, let's see if I can get it to stick here, magnetic. Because that will also help you understand what you're putting in your collection to make sure that your collection stays pure. And not that you're spending your money on something that you find out later you got duped on. Because that's a crappy feeling. Now, what's really fascinating is a rock called limonite. Limonite also forms into cubes, and it often is a mineral that replaces pyrite. Now, if you notice, it's mainly the coloring. So most of us will see limonite in this form. So it comes into the quartz itself and creates that yellow. A lot of people call that, they'll name it things like golden healer and things like that, but really it's the formation of the iron around the mineral itself. And so the actual stone is called limonite. I don't see these around a lot. You know, I found them from an old collection of a friend of mine who was gracious enough to let me purchase some off of her. But again, it's stated as often being a mineral that replaces pyrite. So pyrite cubes, limonite cubes. There's also another mineral called ilmenite, I-L, and for a while I got those confused, and it took me a bit to understand that they're two separate minerals. And then a lot of us know what galena is. If you notice, galena and stibnite look very similar. The difference is the way they grow. They are both, they do This very heavy, stibnite very light. And you'll see here that this is wolfenite up here and galena on the bottom. Pretty cool, huh? Absolutely interesting, yes. Another shiny mineral that we get to deal with a lot is mica or muscovite. This one also is the botryoidal growth pattern that we saw over on our hematite. But this is lepidolite and muscovite. Some call muscovite mica. And this is also muscovite or mica. Now a lot of us know it more like this when it's the sheets. And it is another one of our shiny minerals. It's a very light mineral and it flakes very, very easily. This, again, believe it or not, this is the same lepidolite and mica, just in different growth patterns. This has the shale aspect growth patterns where it's very fine and flaky. And this has the botryoidal, sorry, I'm not good with that word. We can also see muscovite here. Now this is grown on black tourmaline. Fascinating, isn't it? I've got a few of these specimens here that I'm going to show you. Pretty interesting, eh? Very interesting growth patterns. I really do, get very taken with the way things grow. You can really see the muscovite there and the way that it grows. Very indicative of its growth pattern. And then we can look into, this is another one that has pink tourmaline mixed with black tourmaline, also mixed with the idea of mica thrown in there. When we get into those types of growth patterns, we have this beauty called clintonite. Well, you saw the name there. And you can see, again, the flake growth pattern. A lot of us know fuchsite. Again, similar growth pattern. Different mineral. We can see back to our pyrite. This is grown with variscite. The green mineral is variscite. And then, if we look, I will go into this mineral in a while further, but this mineral also carries sphalerite. Now I wanted to bring this up simply because it looks very similar to stibnite and galena. But it is a different mineral. And like I said, I will go into it more further on in the videos as I produce them. This is not a common mineral, very brittle, still beautiful. So for those of you collecting, make sure you hit up your geology shops. Like I said, if you're in the States, make sure you go and look about and do some research. Find the name. I just put this in here too because I wanted to show the difference between quartz and citrine. So this here is citrine. This here is quartz that has the iron in it, and this is limonite. So when you find something, Google the geology of it. Right? Because like I said, I found these were actually hematite and I didn't realize it. And a lot of these, sometimes it's hard to find what they are simply because of the made up names that are out there now. And although people are well intended making up different names, it makes it very hard for people after the geological composition to find out the answers they're looking for. So I hope you enjoyed this installment of Fun with Rocks. The names of the minerals are in the title, and you can go ahead and research them on your own. A lot of these have been collected in different areas. If you'd like to know where I collect, you can shoot me a message and I'll let you know to the best of my ability. Some of them, like I said, are pretty old, so I won't be able to find that information for you, but might be able to put you on to a geology shop in your area. Have a wonderful day.